Yeah. Yeah. So we're still here at Hot Dogs,
Yes,
which
we
is
are.
amazing. We are talking with Helene Choquette
Hi.
for
Hey, well
A
done.
Dog's Life, which is having its Toronto premiere tomorrow, although by the time I post this, it will be today. And
Right. Wednesday.
this question, I want to start really, actually, maybe not difficult, but really hard for the first question. This one's been weighing on my mind for a while.
Okay.
Is that the subject matter, dealing with dogs and homeless people. You've got your camera, but how do you remain objective? Like, how do you not want to take all these people home and just help them? And how do you just remain objective and tell a story as opposed to trying to help everybody?
Of course. The first night we filmed, the first evening we filmed was minus 22, 25 something. And it was near Christmas, and normally I film abroad, so I film difficult situation, but it's 1,000 miles away from my place. But that time was a few corners from my place, so it was very hard.
Yeah.
And I really had to think about it, but as I see my role as a filmmaker was not to all like give shelter them at my place, because the what I wanted to prove is that I wanted to follow them on the long run for 1 year, and because during summers, like just in Montreal, you have all these festivals, large parks where you can sleep, so it's not always easy, but it can be some sort of good living for young kids of the street. But when winter comes, all the anxiety and the struggles really emerge, and so I needed that time, and I needed to be not too involved. But it was a very struggling part of the film, and I have to admit that I was not alone. I was working with 2 researchers who used to be in the street at one point in their lives, and they are now social workers. And so they had a good bond with the people we were filming, and this is also how we would reach them, because they don't have all of them cell phones.
Right.
Yeah, and more importantly, I mean, as mean as it sounds, if you went and helped one person, took that one person, that one dog home, that might help them, but it doesn't change the fact that there's a problem still.
There is a problem, and if I host them, we don't see the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I understand it, but like just experiencing that through the film, it would be tough for me not to be.
It was very tough.
Right.
And I know it can seem like a very simple chronologic film, but it was very struggling to follow this, because you know all the stories of these people, and it's not easy for none of them, and like just being able to make it to a shelter is a good news in their life, you know.
And especially since a lot of the shelters won't allow the dogs.
Most of the shelters.
Right, which is ridiculous. I mean, especially with all the research that has been done on people and pets, and just the sheer health connection that they can provide a person, you'd think they'd kind of adapt the rules, the laws, whatever it is, to let them stay together.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's not the case. There's only one shelter here in Toronto. There is a BC Housing who does have apartments where they accept dogs. But if the film can be a tool to advocate for this, I think this would be a good start.
Yeah, which I think we'll see it do, is because I mean, you know, I go to work every day, and there are the homeless people out there, and literally the questions you ask in these films, like, you know, he has a dog, how can he afford to have a dog? But that's not necessarily what it is. It's more about the companionship and not necessarily the human connection, but the emotional connection and support that these animals can provide.
Exactly.
Well, and I've thought about that too, because I've got 3 cats and a dog at home now, and I've been not homeless, but like couch surfed on friends' couches, and I didn't have my cat with me at the time because I couldn't take her around all the time. But I was like, if that happened to me again now, like, what would I do? Like, I can't let them go, but at the same time, I don't know if I can do that to them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know.
And it doesn't seem to be, well, one, it doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon.
Well, hopefully I think things are gonna change. In Quebec, there is a table of consultation at the moment, and I know that the pet side is something they are talking about, and because it's it's a big challenge because it's not easy to deal with homeless people in the shelter, and shelters for animals is something too.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
So you cannot, none of them can improvise themselves as shelter for the two of them.
Yeah.
So they have to get together and find a way to do it a good way.
Now, is there a way we could do that? I mean, there's got to be a way.
Well, I think it's up to the structure already in place and to people maybe telling that they want this, but you can start one if you want.
Maybe that's what it is. But I just, even me thinking about the subject right now, I can actually feel that I'm not going to cry, but my eyes are definitely getting wet because it's such an emotional subject. Because, like Sue said, I've got cats at home too, and I wouldn't want to be in that situation where I'm, homeless, but I also wouldn't want to be without the cats, and would I do that to the cat? Just. So I admire the fact that you went out and made this film, and could be objective in your telling of it, which is amazing. But I think your humanity still shows.
Was I objective? I don't know. But I was non-judgmental.
Yeah, well, that's the most important part, I think.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I took their part.
Yeah.
There's a scene where you see a woman who clearly down of the ability of one of the guy I'm following to have a dog because he's on the street.
Right.
I took the part of him. It's clearly like he has a good part, and normally.
Yeah, and the dog is a support system for him. I mean, and literally that's what it is, a support system. So I don't think, and it's an old trope, but you can't judge somebody unless you walk in their shoes. I mean, a good percentage of these people that are homeless, they're literally no different than you and I. They have the education, they have a semblance of a good life, or whatever a good life means.
And they have pride.
Yeah.
So this is why it was important to film them for a long period, because one of the characters, Daniel, at first he was like, oh, look at me, I live in my car with my dog, it's so cool, I'm so good, I'm this EP from the 70s. But after 1 year, he was like, okay, now we understood that life was not easy at all in his car.
How did you, I don't even know how to ask what I'm asking. Like, how did you approach them in getting their trust in terms of letting you film them?
We did the research for 6 months before going there with a camera, and we told them we were interested into telling the story of their dogs, and most of them say we are judged every day for our dogs.
Right.
People think we don't take good care of them, so we will do it. So it was a good starting point. And again, the researchers who knew the street were were not easy, but make it simpler to bond with them.
Which is great. I mean, we on our way over, we saw literally two of them. That, two, maybe not homeless, definitely without shelter. And they had their dogs with them, and you could tell that their dogs were just as important to them, if not more important than themselves.
I don't know how it is in Toronto, but in Montreal, to be able to have a dog in an apartment on rental, it's very difficult. And the apartment you can get most of the time have other friends like bed bugs and cockroaches. Not very fun pet to.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Like it's the shelter system is almost like a microcosm of like just trying to get an apartment in the city or a home. Like nobody wants better. They're so much better behaved than people.
It's
most
true.
of the time.
Yeah, we're definitely more animal people than people.
Yeah.
But I don't want to say it's a hard film to watch because that's not what I want to say about the film.
Sometimes there are.
Emotionally, it's not.
There is a scene I shot.
The sun did just come out though, as we've been talking about this.
But there is a scene I shot that in the editing room I cried for 2 weeks. Every time I would see the scene, but it was. This is what it was.
Yeah, but it was real.
Yes.
Like it maybe. I think that's probably part of the reason why people try not to look and try not to see when they walk by, because it's like it's too much to take in.
It's too much, and they could see themselves.
Yeah.
And don't you think that the problem is that when they have dogs, we care more about the dogs than the person and maybe need next to the dog?
Yeah.
And much of the time, the person cares more about the dog than they do about themselves too. I do. I'm always like, I make sure you guys eat, and then I'll like grab a Rice Krispie square or something.
But it's okay. I don't want to use hard film, but it's definitely an emotional film to watch.
It's a hard,
Yeah. But in a good
it
way.
has to.
Yeah, it asks
It has
you
a
to look at
meaning.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It asks
The
you to
best
look at
thing is the things
situation.
that are worth it are the things that are hard. So, there you go.
Huh.
If you don't have to fight for it and struggle
not
with
worth it,
it, then
yeah.
you're not connecting with it.
But
so.
Danielle, the character, he has some sort of humor, and I can tell you when you watch the film, we were in Montreal. He would come at every screening.
Amazing.
Was so proud every time people would laugh at his jokes. So
That's-
he also he did some advertisement for his own participation with his own billboard in the city. Come
That's
see
cool.
me and my dog in the film.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that's amazing. God, I love that. Is it, there are a couple of directors who have kind of revisited their subject matter, like a couple years down the line. Is there any idea that you might, like in 2 years' time, follow up with some of these
I
people?
don't think so.
No?
This was the most difficult film for
I
me
bet.
to do, and previous to this film, I did a film on the Sisters of Providence. They are old sisters, but they still take care of homeless people.
I saw that one.
Les Discrètes,
Yeah.
the Emily's daughter. This is how this film started. I wanted to do something on homelessness, and then I see this very old lady but still active, so there was an emergency to do a film on them, helping homeless people and drug addicts and many things. But this is, and then I started Dog's Life, and then it's been 4 years I'm in this topic. I need to.
Yeah,
You
maybe
need like
a
unicorns
break.
and rainbows
Yeah.
or something.
Yes, I'm thinking of doing a fiction on unicorns.
Yeah, yes!
I was gonna be like puppies. No way. That's just gonna bring it all back.
Yeah. Well, Helene, thank you for your time.
Thanks to you.
This was amazing, and yeah, best of luck with the film, because it's hopefully it's a game changer and opens some minds somewhere. That would be great.
So when is it screening?
It
Wednesday.
starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow
And then there's Thursday and Saturday.
18:45. Well, Wednesday 8:45 at the TIFF,
Yeah.
and Thursday at
At
Isabel
Isabel,
Bader
yeah.
morning, and a dog will be
Saturday.
there.
No.
She will
I may
be
have to
there.
call in sick.
Yeah. No way.
And then I think it's back at the
Saturday,
Lightbox,
Saturday afternoon. Yeah.
which is amazing. Excellent. Helene, thank you
Thanks.
very much.
Thanks to
Thank
you.
you.